Hello Vikings and welcome back to episode 3 of the Valheim guide. Now today's episode is all about preparing for the Black Forest, and that brings us on to one of my most exciting things to do in Valheim, which is making a base. And nonetheless, it's our very first base here in this Valheim world. So that's what today's episode is going to be all about. All the tips and things you need to know to get your first base in Valheim off to the best start possible. So let's get started. Your first base in a new Valheim world has a little checklist you guys should follow in order to find the ideal location. Step number 1, find somewhere that is near to a Black Forest biome. So by now you should have explored a little bit of your world. You can hover your cursor around over your map to see different biomes. So for example, I can see there is Black Forest just down in this area right here. Now the second thing is, don't be too near to a Black Forest biome. So I know that makes it a bit tricky, but basically if you build literally right on top or in a Black Forest biome, you might have to deal with trolls that come and try and destroy your base, as well as Grey Dwarf invasions, and that is not something that you want to be dealing with, at least not yet in the game. The third thing on the checklist is to be somewhere near water. You're going to be doing a lot of travel via water in order to explore, and also to get some good resources back to your base, particularly when you get into the Iron Age later on. So being near water is good. And the final thing we look for is somewhere that's going to be like a nice flat area, so probably like a nice open meadows area like you can see here on the map in these locations, so you can build the base in easily. So my first job in today's episode is to find a good location, and that means we're going to do a bit of exploring. Now as I know there's Black Forest over here, I'm going to go ahead and just put a little marker over there like that, and we're going to head for that one on the map and try to find some water near this location. So before you go exploring, there are some things that you should do. The first one is to stock up on some food. Now I recommend that you prioritize stamina food for your exploration, but do not just neglect having HP because you don't want to die while you're out and about. That would really suck, guys. So these are the foods that I'm taking with me, and I've got the mushrooms here as a little bit of a backup in case we do run out of honey. The other thing to take with you, of course, is some tools and weapons. So as you can see, I've got my crude bow on me, and I've also got fire arrows on me, but I will keep the wood arrows by default because the most likely thing I'm going to see is going to be things like deer, neck, and gulls, and I can kill all those with a wood arrow. The fire arrow is in case we encounter something more tricky, like potentially a troll or something like that. It's also a good idea to just have a club on you for a melee weapon, and I always like to explore with a hammer and at least 10 wood, because that means that I can make myself up a workbench wherever I go to quickly take down structures or get beehives, or even if I need to repair weapons, at least I have the workbench, and then I'll just need to cover it over. The other thing to say is before you set off, it's a good idea to have your rested buff ready, and once you've defeated Eikthyr, you want to use that ability whilst you're running around, as it will save you some stamina. As you can see in the lower left, I do have 3 minutes left until I can regen that. The other thing to think about, guys, is if you're really close to nighttime, it's probably worth just waiting a little bit and sleeping through the night, so you don't have to explore through the night when the mobs are more difficult. So the final thing I want to talk about before you go exploring is shields, and at this stage of the game you have 2 that are available to you. So we've got either the wood shield here or the wood tower shield. Now in terms of which one you make, really it's up to you and your particular playstyle. I personally at this stage I'm going to go for the wood tower shield, and the reason for that is I'm actually not going to be using a shield much, but if I do get myself into a bit of trouble in like a Black Forest where I have lots of mobs at one time, then I find this is going to be a good option for me to just kind of tank, take a lot of damage, play quite defensively, and get myself through it. The advantage of the wood shield though is that you can parry enemies with this, whereas you can't parry with the wood tower shield, but blocking has changed since the Hearth and Home update, and for me I think the tower shield is going to be best, so you need to pick one which suits your playstyle the best. Also just to say on shields, you can choose a style of shield up here, right, for each one, so you want to do that before you make it up, and you see you've got all these different colors, and make it your own, and then hit craft. And there we go, guys, our shield is made. Now just to say, you cannot wield a shield and a bow at the same time, so you do want to have a melee weapon that you're fairly comfortable with when you're going through and doing your journeying. Now you may want to make up the flint spear at this point, because it is a decent weapon that you can use, and as well as doing the melee attacks, you can also throw it at people, so yeah, it's got that advantage to it. Me personally, for the reconnaissance mission, I'm just going to go ahead with my club, but I thought I'd mention it because of course everyone has their own playstyles. So on my journey, as I've been exploring to find somewhere cool to live, as you can see here, I went up to like this area here was where we had the house, like probably around about there as like a rough little point to look at, and there's a bit of Black Forest there, but there's no water nearby, so I just started to have an explore. Found some more black forest down this way, but look at this, guys. We found some carrot seeds, and I had to show this on cam rather than just picking them up because this brings a whole new element to the game. We can now start farming carrots. Just a very quick pause here to say you actually can't start farming carrots and other things like that until you have the cultivator, but I still get excited when I see carrot seeds because I know the cultivator is just around the corner in this playthrough. And that's actually quite big, especially for this stage of the game. It'd be very useful to us. I definitely wanted to show that on cam with you guys as we go through. The other thing to say is I managed to find a copper deposit and also a burial chambers, which is right on the edge of the Black Forest, which is really, really useful. So as we're going around, I'm basically running around the edge of the Black Forest to just map out the area for it. I just want to say, do keep your eyes open for little things. If you see copper deposits or carrot seeds, pick them up, mark the copper deposits, mark any burial chambers, even tin can be useful to mark, and blueberries as well. I like to get as many blueberries as I can, and yeah, so it's worth definitely, like, once you go around the outside of this forest and sort of mapping, just having a look, because sometimes you will find some really useful things. Now, just to say, this on screen right here is a burial chamber, and this here is another type of burial chamber. So these are the burial chambers to keep an eye out for and mark their location on the map. As for copper looks a little bit like this. Again, always worth taking note of any copper deposits you find. The other thing I recommend you do is keep your eye open for pine trees, and when you see them, you want to cut those down because they will give you core wood, and you want to save up until you have 20 core wood in order that you can make the stag breaker, which you're going to see in just a second. So guys, I have done quite a lot of exploring around my map on this starting island, as you can see here, and this was all done through running around, so it does take quite some time, but it is worth it in my opinion to get a really good location for your starting base, because for me, my starting base could be my final base. It sometimes ends up that way. So I like the location I'm in here quite a lot, and that's because it ticks a lot of those boxes we talked about on the checklist before. Obviously, we're near water. This is flat enough reasonably, and I think I'm actually going to come down into here, into the trees, take down these trees. That area over there is very flat, and it talks about the proximity as well of the Black Forest, right? So we're a little bit too close here. So I think just by going over here a bit, taking down some trees, we'll just be that little bit further away where it's a nice distance where trolls aren't going to be too much of a pain for us, and same with grey dwarfs and such. Plus, from here, we could easily sail across there to that Black Forest. Now, talking of the Black Forest, as you can see here, I've done a bit of exploring of this area, and I found a burial chamber, so that's awesome. But this is a reasonable sized Black Forest already, and although it looks like the coast kind of comes up here like this, right, and kind of cuts it off like somewhere like this, but when I look over there, I actually think this might go a lot deeper, right? I think it might go like way back here a little bit. So if it does, then, you know, that's going to be big enough. But either way, this is a great little spot for us to start our base. Now, what I'm going to do real quick, guys, is show you a little way that you can kind of cheat if you want to. Now, I'm just going to stress here, I think the thing is with Valheim, right, sometimes the bits of the game are a little bit grindy. And for people who have got other commitments, they work full time, you're at school, whatever, and you maybe don't have time to do what I've done, like spend like literally hours running around an island just to find somewhere to live. Let me go and show you a way that you can do this if you want. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my cheat character selected here, right? And I use this guy whenever I want to cheat, and that way it doesn't interfere with any of my mains. So when I press start right now, what I'm going to do is do a new world, and we'll just call this like cheat temp or something like that. And then the seed. So what you need to do here is match the seed with your world seed. Now, I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to put in spoiler because I actually want to spoil like my world. I want to play through it sort of legit. But if I was doing it, obviously I'd put in my Kysen guide seed and I could do that. So hit done. And we'll go ahead and load up the new world, and then I'll show you guys how you can reveal the map to yourself. Okay, so here we are. We've just spawned in on this new world, and if I press M right now, you'll see that none of the map has been explored. So what I want to do is go ahead and press F5 and type in dev commands, all one word, and it'll say dev commands true. Now, if you are not getting this message, I'm going to show you in a second what you need to do in order to enable this. But you have a whole range of dev commands, right? So I can do TOD.5 if I want it to be noon, for example. And I'm not going through all the cheat commands, but I did want to make it daytime before I do the next thing, which is to type in explore map, again, all one word, and boom. So now I can see my entire Valheim world map. So you could then have a really good look around your starting island. So this one here, there we go, this is Black Forest over there. Now, to go and get a really good look at where you want to live, what you want to do is type in debug mode, all one word, like that. Oh, I must have used this before. Okay, so debug mode, there we go, it's true now, very good. So now when I press Z, I can actually fly around. Using WAS, use spacebar to go up, use control to go down. So if I look at my mini-map here, I can like set a little point and then fly over to that point and just have a little look and be like, okay, is this a good location or not? So this is something that's just a big time saver for those of you out there who live busy lives, which I totally understand. But obviously, it's entirely up to you guys whether or not you use this. And, you know, you can just play the game fully legit if you want to, of course. Okay, so if you didn't see the dev commands thing come up, then what you need to do is go to your Steam, right-click on Valheim and click Properties here. And then you see all of this in launch mode, or launch options, I should say, right? Now, don't worry about any of this stuff, okay? This is just stuff I use for different reasons. But what you want to worry about is this. You type in the hyphen, console, just like that. You put that in. Then you need to close down your Valheim, relaunch it, and when that's done, you should then, when you press F5 and type in that dev commands, be able to access all the cheats in the game. Now, I want to say at this point, I do think that cheats can spoil the game sometimes, but in certain situations like this, they can be really useful to save people time when they live busy lives and still get the most out of the game. So please do, not be tempted to use them if you don't need to, but if you do, the option is there. Okay, guys, just up there through the trees, there is a troll in this Black Forest. Now, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about trolls. What I'm going to do is select my fire arrows here, and we're going to make sure that we sneak up on him to get our first attack in without him seeing us, but we are going to take him down because troll armor is going to be very useful to us. So here we go, and boom. So there we go. We've got a good amount of damage on the first one, and now he's going to come at us. Now, the way that I recommend you fight these guys before you're geared up, and if you're a bit new to the game and stuff, is just like I'm doing right here. You shoot him with the fire arrows, and as you can see, we're going to get him down by about a third of his health before he even gets near us. And when he does get near, we just want to dodge his attacks. When he's throwing those rocks, it's not too difficult. We just look behind me here. Okay, we're pretty good. So we let him get close, and then we sprint away, and he's done his slow attack trying to hit us. And in the time that he's done that, we've got far enough away that we can be shooting him again and again. Okay, guys, so I've just bumped into another troll here, and this one's got a club. And I wanted to mention this because if you do fight a troll that's got a club, you can fight him the same way that I showed before, but you do need to get away from him a little bit quicker because he's going to swing that club, increasing the distance in which he is able to hit you from, and you can die. And I totally did not die, and that was not the inspiration for making this little clip. I'm a professional, but, all right, I might have died. I did die. But, you guys want to avoid that because it can suck when you die and have to run back and stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your first Valheim rabbit hole. We are over on the cheat world so I can demonstrate this for you guys, but we're basically about to move based on the Kysen guide world, and to make that process a lot easier, we want to make up this thing, the cart. But the cart requires these materials and includes the bronze nails, which we need 10 of them. So in order to make up the bronze nails, we're going to need some bronze. And to get bronze, you need 2 copper and 1 tin to give you 1 bronze ingot. However, before you can start worrying about making up the nails, you'll also need to make yourself up one of these things, which is a forge. And the forge is going to require 6 copper as well as these other materials. Now, when you mine copper and tin, you'll get copper and tin ore, not these things that you see here, the ingots. So in order to smelt those down, you'll need to make up a smelter. And in order to power the smelter with fuel that you can smelt down the ore with, you'll need to make a charcoal kiln to put in to get coal. Now, there are other ways of getting coal in-game, for example, taking down signs in NPC villages, or you can burn food, so you can get that in another way. But one thing you will need are these things, which are the Smelting cores, in order that you can make these things. The recipe for each requires 5 Smelting cores and 20 of the stone. Now, technically, you need 10, right? You need 5 for the kiln and 5 for the smelter. However, when we destroy one of these, we of course get all the materials back. So you could just find 5 Smelting cores, make up your kiln, put a load of wood in there and turn it into coal. And when you've got enough of that, destroy this one, use the same materials to make up this one, and then go ahead and smelt down your ore. So that is a way that you can do it. However, basically all up, this is what we're going to need, guys. We need 8 copper, we need 1 tin, and we need 5 Smelting cores. And that whole process is simply to get us a cart. Now, obviously it's a little bit of a faff. However, the cart is going to be a very useful item to us throughout the game, and we're going to have to do this whole process at some point, so we might as well do it now. So now we're going to hop back onto the Kysen guide world, and I'm going to talk about how we're going to prepare to go into the Black Forest to get the Smelting core, and also to mine the copper and the tin and stuff that we need, and then get this process underway. So back on the Kysen guide world, I am now geared up, and I just want to take you guys through some of the things that I recommend you take in order to do that initial run, where we are of course going for the 8 copper, the 1 tin, and the 5 Smelting core. So this is everything that I will be taking with me. So obviously you need the pickaxe in order to mine the copper and the tin. Now you want to take with you a shield for sure, and also I've got a club, and I actually upgraded this club because it only takes 5 bones to upgrade, and of course making sure you have the upgraded workbench, which we already did in the previous episode. Now I do highly recommend the club because in the burial chambers you are going to be fighting against skeletons, and the club is highly effective against them. It's also not too bad against greylings and grey dwarfs and stuff like that, but we've got our fire just in case, and we've also got another option here with a bow in order to fight them, so highly recommend you take the bow and take a good amount of arrows with you, whatever you have available. But I want to talk a minute about this weapon as well, the Stag Breaker. So if I go ahead and do a hit with this, you'll see it's a slow two-handed hit that has an AoE effect, and it does quite a big hit. Now you're going to see in a minute when we get into a burial chamber just how useful this is, is, but it's really useful basically against groups of mobs and also against spawners. So again, I'm going to come on to that, but this is worth making. This is why we wanted to get that 20 core wood in order that we could make it, and it also needs 5 of the deer trophy. Now, a final note about the shield, guys. When you're making up a shield, you do of course have a choice. I've gone for the tower shield, but you could just go for the normal wooden shield if you want. So the difference is the tower shield will give you more protection, right? So it's quite a big shield, it protects you a lot better, but you're not able to parry with it. Now, this for me at the moment is not too much of a concern, but if I get into the burial chambers and there's like 3 or 4 skeletons attacking me and maybe an archer and a ghost and stuff like that, then I've got a good amount of defense here just to try and prevent myself from dying. But if you prefer to parry, if that's your playstyle, then of course go ahead and do that. Just to say, when you do make up a shield, if I can select one here, you choose the style here before you craft it and then hit craft in order to make it up. And of course I just went with this green style, but you know, you can choose whatever style you like with that stuff. Before you go, you should also make sure you repair everything up, of course, and take a good amount of food with you. So you can see here the food that I've gone for is the same as the Ike for fight. Okay, the cooked deer meat, the cooked boar meat, and then some stamina from the honey. But you can also take with you some mushrooms. That's not a bad idea either. But these 2 here and then one of these would be what I recommend. But again, you know, you can tailor it to suit your playstyle if you think something different would be better for you. It's also a good idea, of course, to have your rested buff and to have your Ike through ability, but I recommend that you save your Ike through ability until you get to the Black Forest and use it while you're in there, because that's when you're going to need it the most. Okay, so we are now approaching a burial chamber, and as you can see, there's a skeleton outside here. This is actually a 1-star skeleton, which is why it was able to do quite so much damage to me. Now, one thing about skeletons, you'll see here, you can let them get pretty close to you, and when they swing, they're pretty slow, so you can actually kind of escape their attacks without even blocking them, really. And there we go, with a 1-star skeleton, we're able to easily deal with that guy with just a level 2 upgraded club right there. Okay, guys, here we go. We are inside the burial chamber. Now, you'll notice up here there's a bit of a lip that you cannot just walk up. You have to jump to get up. Now, this is your little safety area. See the skeleton right here? He can't get to me because I'm up here, and you will often find skeletons in this sort of lobby area. So remember this and keep yourself safe and form a plan of attack. You could, of course, start shooting them with a bow from up here, quite protected, but as I showed before, to hit the skeletons, and this is not even a 1-star, so this guy will be fine, but just hitting them with a club is going to do quite a lot of damage, and you shouldn't have too many problems with them. So there is a door on the left-hand side, as you're seeing right here, and there's going to be a door in front of us, and there's a door over here to the right. So this is quite common, and what I suggest you do is have some sort of system. So my system is to always go left. So I go left, and then if there was a door on the left, I'd go through that one. So there is a door on the right here, there's one in front. Well, this is more left, so we go through here. And this will make it easy when you're trying to find your way out later, because you simply keep going right. Now, when you come to a door and you don't know what's behind it, it can be a good idea to open it and close it straight away. Because right now, I've just got a glimpse there, I've seen what's inside, so I can get prepared. And here comes the skeleton. Oh, he ran off. We must have scared him when we opened the door. Where did he go? Okay, here he was. He was hiding behind the corner here. So if you get into a bit of trouble, you can just shut the door. And if there's a couple of mobs that you need to fight, you can always let one of them through. If one of them's going to come through here, okay, and fight them one at a time. Does anyone see the movie 300? Okay, it's the same sort of principle. Okay, their numbers count for nothing in this slim area. And then we can go through and fight the other dudes. So here he is. There we go. And he's one of these skeleton archers. But again, dealt with pretty well, and I saw that one a bit late, but there we go, another skeleton through here. Okay, guys, through this door here is our first exciting thing. We have a Smelting core, so here we go. There's a couple of skeletons in there, but actually, this is a really good time for me to show you guys why the stag breaker is useful. Oh, hang on. No, it's not. There's a skeleton right there. Where do these keep coming from? Hey, dude. You're ruining my video. Okay, we're wielding the stag breaker. Let me show you what happens when there's 3 skeletons here. We open the door, we come through, and boom! We did damage to all 3 of them. In fact, there's 4 of them in here. So we're taking a bit of damage ourselves, but they are all now dead, and we took very little damage right there, which is why this is quite a useful thing to take with you. Okay, guys, through here, I'm going to show you a new mob, which is the ghost. Now, I like to fight these with... Oh, geez, there's one here. Okay. Okay, so there's one through the other door, which I was paying attention to. I didn't realize there's one there. So, a ghost, guys. Looks like that. There it is, okay? Hope you guys caught that. So, how I like to fight these? Well, I just like to get my bow ready, come through, and land a shot on him. There we go. He's going to take some fire damage. Then we're going to get back out of his way, because he's going to shoot at us. And by doing this, you don't really risk taking much damage, okay? But here he comes, he's going to shoot at you and stuff. But we can get quite a few hits in on him this way. And you can keep shutting the door on him if you really want to. But as you can see from this little battle right here, it was not too difficult to fight in that way. However, what I'm going to do now is go and show you how to, or what happens when you melee a ghost, right? Just so you guys get that information. So through here, there's another ghost. So hey, dude. So first of all, let me get right in with him. Let's block the attack. So come on then, fire at me. Okay, so there you go. See, blocking the attack with this tower shield, we got most of it. Now, in terms of hitting him, you'll see we do a bit of damage, And you can definitely melee him, but you can see here I'm taking a lot more damage than I did take when I was just using my bow. And that's why I like to use my bow. I find that is just a better way of fighting them. So back outside the burial chamber, I just want to quickly go through the loot that I got during that raid. And this is it, basically. Everything that you see in here, obviously other than the food on the left-hand side there. Let's get all this stuff over here. This is what we got from that raid. Now, 7 Smelting cores per chamber. I would say that is above average. So we've done really well there to get 7 from the one chamber. And then we got a good amount of treasure and stuff as well. So this is the sort of stuff that you're going to get. So now I'm off to find some tin and some copper. And I have already noted a copper around here, I think. Yep, I knew there's one near here. So there we go. And again, this is the time saver of just noting things along the way. So in fact, I'll show you the copper right here. It's just over here. So we need to get that copper now. And we're going to get enough of that for what we're looking for. And then get the tin and head home. So here we are safely back at our base. And I do want to draw your attention to something. And that is the durability that I got through of the antler pickaxe. It is quite weak. That much durability only got me the 9 copper ore that you see here. The tin ore from fighting a troll earlier, I got very lucky and a troll smashed up some tin. And I got 4 tin from that. So I've just taken one there to show that we have got everything that we needed in order to make the next things we want to make. But you guys may want to either take a couple of antler pickaxes or the ability to repair it by taking a workbench and materials to cover that workbench. Or you could always just run home and repair it. Because whether or not I would have got the 4 tin, probably would have, but it's going to be close. So I just want to bring your attention to that so you don't do a wasted trip. But we do now have the 2 new items that we can make, the charcoal kiln and the smelter. So I'm going to go ahead and make up the charcoal kiln now and turn a load of wood into coal. Then we're going to go ahead and smelt down our metals to make up the cart so that we can move base. Now, we have now gone and made up a load of coal. As you can see here, we've got 50 coal on us. So what I'm going to do now is destroy that charcoal kiln to get all the materials back from it and make up the smelter instead. So let's see if we can place that down. There we go. Now what we're going to do is load this up as best we can so we can get here 20 coal in over on this side, just like that. Okay, very good. And let's go ahead and put the rest of that back into the chest. And where did I put this other stuff? 1 second. Okay, so I found it. We have got the 9 copper ore and 1 tin ore, and this can take 10, so that is perfect. So we're going to put all 10 in there. Now, what you should do, guys, is as you can see here, it's nighttime, so you want to do that, then go ahead and sleep. And when you wake up in the morning, all of those ores will be processed for you, which is awesome. And here we go, guys. First thing in the morning, out we come, and we can pick up all of this stuff. And as you see there, we unlock the forge. We got our 9 copper. And did the tin not quite do? Okay, we need to put in a bit more coal, I guess, in order for the tin to work. So let's put in, I don't know, just a couple pieces there, but that should do that. So that's why you do that overnight, and then you got all that stuff done for you. Okay, so now we want to place down our forge. Now, what I'm going to do is, you see the materials here needed for the forge on screen, so we've got all of that. But I'm just going to go ahead and place this inside, just inside the door here if I can. Yep, there we go, because it'll be undercover, meaning that I can actually use this forge now to make up my bronze. So I'm going to go ahead there and craft up a bronze, which will unlock a ton of new recipes again, and then I'm going to craft up one of the bronze nails, which again is going to unlock a ton of new recipes in and of itself. And one of the exciting things that we can now do is of course make up the cart. So where is it here? So we need the bronze nails and 20 wood. And so here we go, we can now go ahead and place down the cart just here next to our house. You want to place it somewhere that's going to be near your storage system, because the next thing that we're going to do is basically we're going to take down this door right here because it's just in the way when I'm going in and out, take down that forge. And now we want to put things from our chests into our storage system. And that, of course, then is going to allow us to pick the cart up and run with it to our new base. Now, one little trick, guys, when you're running with your cart, if you hold down right click and then press spacebar, you do a dodge roll. It's a very quick way of getting out the cart, because otherwise when you're using it here, it's a little bit fiddly. You have to kind of look back and press E again. So it's definitely much faster to just hold that down and do the dodge roll like that. So right click, held down, and push spacebar, and out you come. So in terms of what you should take to your new base at this stage, here's what I've got on me. So first things first, take all of the things that cannot be teleported, which is shown by the little cross up there in the right hand side, and also when you hover over it, it says they can't be teleported. So that's our tin ore and our copper ore. So we definitely want things you can't teleport. Then after that, I've just taken with me a load of wood and some other building materials that I think I might need in order to build up my base. Now don't worry, because everything that you're leaving back here, you're going to come back for soon, but we're going to do it next time when we have a portal. So that's going to be the next thing that we're going to do, is get a portal set up so we can portal back here and then keep portaling to and from this base and our new base to get all the stuff over there. And so here we go, we're over at our new base location, and it took me about 2.5 minutes to get over here, so it's not too bad. So in the next episode, what we're going to do is talk all about setting up our base here, and then we'll be ready to launch into the Black Forest and really go through the Metal Age. And I'll probably be doing a live stream at some time soon. So if you want to catch the live stream here on the Valheim Guide world, then the best thing to do is either subscribe here on YouTube or follow me on Twitch, because it will definitely be on one of those platforms. Link to my Twitch is in the top of the video description. So guys, that's it for today's episode. The dad jokes are of course coming, but for now I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Why did the Viking take a ruler to bed? To see how long he slept. Why did the Viking take a pencil to bed? So he could draw the curtains. Did you hear how happy the fire was when the Viking went to sleep? It was stoked. Why are skeletons so cowardly? They've got no guts. Why don't Vikings like psychologists? It's the only thing they're afraid of. What do you call a Viking with no eyes? A Vikung.